Welcome, everybody. I'm Kate Kunkel, the founder of Brain Health Matters, which is a series of courses, programs, and videos just like this, all designed to help you become healthier so your brain can become happier and stronger. And I'm here today with Claudia Kaldenbach, a vegan weight loss coach who struggled herself with extra weight, but has learned the secret of creating a healthy weight lifestyle full of fun. Claudia loves science, so she set about creating this lifestyle formula based on science. So I'm very happy to have you here. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you, Kate. Lovely to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, I'm excited to have you here because, as most of the people know, obesity is one of the prime risk factors for developing dementia. So this is something I talk about all the time, and people say, well, that's fat shaming. No, it's not fat shaming. We have a very serious issue going on in the world, and you actually talk about that, the obesity pandemic. What do you mean by that?
Well, it kind of shocked me because I was overweight for years, and I went on a quest in 2020 trying to figure out what would work. I was sick and tired of the weight gain. And while I was doing research, I discovered that the weight gain worldwide has become a problem already since the 70s or 80s. So really long time. So apparently when the fast food industry became popular, and yes, of course, we both know that people think they have little time, so they choose for convenience over healthier choices, and everything is everything is created, and we tend to forget that what we see in the supermarket is not real food. If it's packaged and it can hold for months and months, you can bet on it that it's not natural food.
And that's something I just posted on our group here today, or a couple of days ago, about this new KFC vegan chicken type food. And it actually made my skin crawl a bit, because when you think about it, what on earth are they putting in there that could resemble chicken? What is it? How can our bodies use this at all? Do you think they can?
I don't know. I think the tendency that a lot of companies try to ride the wave of the popularity, the growing popularity. So it's a good thing on the one hand, and on the other side, it's of course that we have to be careful what we're eating. But I think it's on itself, it's a good development that people are becoming aware that there are other alternatives than eating meat and fish. And it can be a great place to start in the beginning. But in the end, if you will keep on eating like that with meat replacements and with snacks, then in the end, you're just eating unhealthy. So not contributing to a good health and a healthy body.
Yeah, that's the problem, because I mean, Oreos are vegan, right?
Yeah.
So, Doritos, unless they have the cheese flavoring on them, that's vegan. So it's very hard for people to maybe discern, especially when people are starting on a vegan diet. And when I went whole foods vegan, I lost a tremendous amount of weight. I felt so much better. And this is post menopause, right? When it's really hard to dump that weight. And it just seems to me that a lot of people aren't getting that if they just cleaned it up, their bodies would use what we give it. Like, I eat a lot, but I eat stuff that my body can use.
Yeah.
And what do you say about like portion control and that sort of thing if you want to lose weight on a vegan diet?
Well, there's the difference between eating vegan and why you eat vegan. So, and that's what makes it complex, probably, for people that are not aware of all the differences and the similarities. So most people that start a vegan diet can do that because they're against animal cruelty. So they say, as long as if it's not animal If there's nothing animal in it, I can eat it. So they're not so concerned about their health, more about their compassion, so to say. And of course, there are also vegans that go vegan because of the health or because of the climate. They want to diminish their footprint on Earth. So there are several motivations for people to start eating vegan. And I think that every person should have his own motivation on why they eat like they want to eat, but at the same time, they have to be educated or educate themselves about what are better choices. And that's for all of us, whether we are eating plant-based or not. We always have a choice with every meal. So we can change one meal at a time, is what I say.
I love that, because even for most of my clients, they're here not to lose weight or anything. They're here because they're suffering from brain fog, or they're finding that their memories aren't as sharp as they could be. So they think, I've got to do this right away. I've got to make all these changes, but we can't. Humanly, we can't. I certainly didn't. And I don't know anybody else who does and is successful at it. I quit smoking 40 years ago, and I did that right away. I just said, that's enough. I'm not going to be this person anymore. But that's something that you don't need, right? Your body knows that you don't need that nonsense. But food, we need food. And it's just a decision every single day. And I like to say, everything you do is something. So whatever you do to make it better, it's better than nothing. Right. So, and just making that choice with your fork every time, every day, every meal is a thing. So how did you do this for yourself? Let's talk about the science, how you came up with this to help you lose weight. Now you do whole foods, plant-based, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So tell people the difference too.
Yeah, I turned vegan in 2016. By accident. You wouldn't believe it. Our daughter, she was interested in eating sometimes a bit vegetarian, a few times a week, because she kind of felt disgusting when she saw the chicken, the raw chicken, so to say. And she said, Mom, could we maybe eat vegetarian a few times a week? And I said, well, I will be willing to try that. But it was summertime. And I also have a holiday home, which I have for rental. So it was really busy. So I said, okay, let's do this. One condition, you will cook. So she agreed. And we told our neighbor. We have a lovely neighbor. And she said, oh, I have a great book about all kinds of recipes with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you want it, I can lend it to you. So we got the book, and she started the first morning. And we had something with chocolate and raspberries. And I thought, oh, wow, this is a divine combination. If this is how the 50 days will look like, I'm hooked, yes. But there was a lot of work involved. There were complex recipes. Most of them tasted really good, but she was in the kitchen for hours and hours. And after a few days, we noticed that there was no meat in it. So only once a week there was something like you could add some fish or some meat, but not necessarily, and no eggs at all. And then we discovered about plant-based eating. And I used to think that people that ate vegetarian, that they had a boring life. Little did I know. So I turned vegan, which is one step further, so to say, no egg, no cheese, and nothing animal. And we kind of liked it. But the moment that, so we were a few days in, the moment that we discovered that there were all kinds of documentaries online, and what was happening in the food industry and the cruelty with the animals, we decided there and then, okay, this is the way of no return. So no matter what, we don't feel like eating meat or fish ever again. So we stopped there on the spot. But then after 50 days, normal life came back, and I had to veganize my meals, so to say. So I learned a few tricks on how to do that, but it was really difficult to find a balanced meal and to really get the nutrition in my body and lose weight and not spend hours in the kitchen.
Yeah,
So
that's a balancing trick.
I struggled for about 4 years, until COVID came, and then I had all the time in the world to figure it all out. So then I was only interested in getting results, and I was sick and tired of diets that didn't work. I gained about, let me calculate, about 40 plus pounds over the years. So I was obese officially.
Mm-hmm.
And I was feeling miserable, to be honest. I was climbing up the stairs and out of breath. I felt a bit depressed. So brain fog, I probably also had that at that time. And so normally I'm an optimistic, energetic woman. But at that time, first time of my life, I didn't feel good. So my body was talking to me that something needed to change. But yeah, you blame yourself all the time if diets don't work, and you don't know what you don't know. So you're just trying and trying again and again and again. And then that's also one thing I learned during my research, that 99% of diets fail. So diets are only a short-term effort to change the consequences of your lifestyle. So the only solution I found to be the truth is develop a lifestyle with healthy choices.
I love that, because it's true. My former husband struggled with weight all during our relationship, and he would do like isogenics, and then he would do the Dr. Atkins at the time, it was called, the keto kind of thing. And he would lose a lot of weight, and then like, you can't sustain that lifestyle. You can't live on fat and whipped cream. You can't do it. So he got sick, and he gained all the weight back. And I've seen so many people do that. The yo-yo thing is so difficult. And I was heavy too. I mean, by the time I was at the tail end of menopause, I was like almost 50 pounds overweight. So that is not acceptable. And for brain health, for those of you who are concerned about brain health, that is a serious risk factor. To be 50 pounds overweight after menopause, you are really putting yourself into all kinds of danger. And you can also develop diabetes, another risk factor for brain issues. So so these diets
and cancer, heart disease. All the major chronic diseases are mainly lifestyle related. So and that's also the good news, that a lot of people think that it's in their genes, that they cannot change. But most of the time, it's the habits that you learned at home that made you do specific behavior later on in life, what you learned at home. So, for instance, I was talking with a colleague of mine. We used to clean our plate when we were a child. That's how we were raised.
Yeah, don't waste any food. Do not waste any food.
So if that's how you were raised and you have children, what do you do when they don't eat their plate? You will eat it as a mother. And also, if you have a husband who eats less than you do, you can also have that. So it's you have to become aware of what you're doing regarding to foods. That's part of the solution.
I think what you just said about families, because I have a fair number of women with teenage children who are in our group. And even with them, teenagers do eat more. But as they're growing up, you find yourself getting bigger and bigger as they're getting taller and taller. And it's very difficult to change that mindset. I grew up in a German family. My father nearly starved to death at the end of World War II. So you did not waste one molecule of anything. I can remember being set at the kitchen table it's well past dark by then because I couldn't eat all those potatoes because he would put enough potatoes on for like a boy twice my age. But you could not waste them. You'd have to stay there and finish it no matter how long. And those things stick with you. You know, it's
Yeah.
not, and it's not like a blame thing. It's just the way it is. Just, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard. So we have to change our thinking as much as our eating. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and as for portion control, the real problem is in the processed food. So the processed food, all the good stuff is taken out of it. The fibers, the oftentimes there are additives added into it, or even sugar. If it's low fat, there's lots of sugar in it, and your body doesn't know what to do with it. And even all the additives, they don't know what it's really doing to your health. So it hasn't been proven to be unhealthy. And until then, it's just in our food. So
Yeah.
we're just it's chemicals. So yeah, I avoid it as much as I can and just make my own sauces and my own spices.
Yes,
And
absolutely. We don't need packaged anything really. Very seldom. I mean, pasta, if you eat pasta, not everybody does if you're Whole Foods because it's processed so much, but a lot of people they just you just don't need most packaged food. You really
no, no,
don't.
no.
So and that's the wonderful thing. People say, "Oh, it's so expensive to be vegan." Maybe you could address that because I don't think it is.
No, it's not. So especially if you look at lentils and beans, they're really cheap protein, so to say. A lot of fibers, really great for health. Yeah, and of course you can make it as expensive as you like. So I live in Flevoland, in the middle of the Netherlands. There's a lot of agriculture. So I can get my biological vegetables directly from the land. So in the morning it is cut off. How fresh will you have it? So like kale and Brussels sprouts, red cabbage I currently have. So if you eat seasonal, then you have the best price most of the times. But of course, not everyone has access to biological vegetables. So you have to be creative in that. But you can
Yeah.
also find frozen food.
Well,
That can also be cheaper. And if there's nothing added into it, then it's not worse than fresh.
and oftentimes, if you live in a climate like my family's from Canada and you're there in the Netherlands or somebody in a northern climate, you don't have access necessarily to local fresh produce. And
Mm.
anything that's imported, like in Canada, it would have to come from California or Florida, and it was picked before it had any really nutrients in it. By the time it got to us, it had no flavor. But frozen vegetables and fruits are they're okay, as
Yeah.
long as, like you said, with no additives. And oftentimes they are better choice because they're not transported so far. They're frozen when they're first picked.
Mm.
So you have
Yeah.
more nutrients in them just because they haven't traveled 5,000 miles or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. So
Yes. Yes.
the other thing I wanted to ask you was, did some sugar? I want to talk about sugar. You mentioned it briefly in the foods, in the processed foods. When you were on your weight loss journey, how did you deal with the sugar issue? Because we've had a lot of people talking about that, asking questions lately. How did you eliminate that from your diet?
Well, it depends if you are. So let me say, I was an emotional eater, but I didn't know, but I scored really high as I'm addicted to food. So I can eat food whenever I'm happy, when I'm stressed, when there are people over. I can eat all the time, and food was always in my mind. So I told my daughter, and I said, "Did you know that I was food addicted?" And she said, "Well, I could have told you, Mom. I'm that too. I know that from myself." But I said, "I didn't know that about myself." So if there can be a trigger in your emotions that make you want to eat, but there can also be a trigger in the food itself that makes you want to eat. And the processed food companies, they know exactly, they have scientists, they have marketers, they have all kinds of specialists that know what triggers us. So in essence, we are built to crave for sweets because then we would eat fruits from from nature, which is good for us. And because it's concentrated refined sugar in the processed food that we eat, then our body gets addicted to it. It's even worse than heroin.
Mm-hmm.
They did tests with mice, and they compared the addictiveness of heroin compared to refined sugar, and the mice preferred the sugar. So it is really doing something with our body. So it's activating that happy hormone, the dopamine in our body. But you need more and more to taste it. And I myself I have more a salty taste, so to say. So more like peanuts to get energy. So I'm not that addicted to sweet, but I used to love pie and cookies and whatever. But now you can put a pie in front of me and I won't feel like eating it. I don't want it anymore.
Isn't that
But
interesting? I have to say the same
yeah,
thing. So the sugar, I was never really big. I'm more in the salt as well.
yeah.
But the sugar, it was never really a big thing for me. At Christmas time, we went to two different neighbors' houses for gatherings, and everybody was like just chowing down on these chocolate. Somebody had made some beautiful chocolate balls with sweet things inside, and then they made cookies and all this stuff, and everybody's chowing down. And I looked at those things and I actually went, ooh, like it was almost as bad as seeing a piece of pork to me,
Yeah.
because it just didn't did not even inspire any kind of desire. I just have no desire for it now. In the past, I would love like a chocolate bar, like a caramel chocolate bar. Caramel and
Yeah.
chocolate, that was my thing. But if I was going to have sweet, but
Yeah.
I didn't even want, I mean, one of those chocolate balls had caramel in it, but it didn't even, and I didn't have one piece. It just didn't do anything for me. But I think that's something, just as our bodies learn to crave it, they learn to not crave it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is if you get sugar, if you're able to get sugar out of your system, I help my clients to do that. Then after 2 weeks, your taste pupils in your mouth will have recovered and they will be able to enjoy the sweetness of fruit and vegetables again. And then you will have the balance back in your body. So it's not out of balance anymore. And then if you have something that is really sweet, you say, that's too sweet for me. Where in the past you would have easily be able to eat it. So
Right.
your body adapts. And yeah, I think that's why it's so good to eat the whole foods and not processed food, is that you have everything with it. So if you eat a fruit is healthy, there's fibers in it, there's vitamins in it.
Yeah.
So then the sugar is not a problem.
Right. Right. Yeah. We need the whole food. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Claudia, we're going to have to wrap it up here. I promise not to keep you too long because it is late where you are, but tell our viewers how they can work with you. And I think you have a special gift for them.
Yeah, I have a special gift. I have several resources where I inspire women in menopause to lose weight for health. So I have a Facebook group. You're welcome to join. That is bit.ly/pb menopause. So it's a short link. It's plant-based weight loss during menopause. So it's a mouthful. I have an app you can download with training and recipes. That's also in my Facebook group. And I have a mastermind program where I help women lose 10 pounds guaranteed within 4 weeks.
Wow. Guaranteed. Boy, that's got to
Yeah.
be some people. If you're ever struggling, this is the lady to talk to.
Yes. Yeah, I stand behind my products, and I'm here to help. So I don't want your money if it shouldn't work, or if you're not satisfied with the way I coach. So I give guarantees on what I do, and that's how I want to make a difference in the world and help women escape their misery. And as a free gift today, I've created a 7-step guide for you all to how to create a healthy plant-based diet. So just some tips in it. And there's also a page on it on how to recognize what's in your food. So how you can read the labels.
Oh,
So I have visual about that in it. And I think that will be really helpful for your audience.
oh, I'm sure it will, because if you're in this space and if you're in this world, it's pretty easy. We can pretty well identify trouble spots. But if you're not, and if you're just starting, it's really helpful. This is wonderful. We'll make sure, folks, that all of these links are in the notes, the show notes. And for those of you who are here on Facebook Live, I will also put them in the comments on the live so that you've got them right there. And Claudia, this is just amazing. Thank you so much. You're an inspiration, for people who just aren't sure how the heck to get started. Just, people start with a 7-step guide to how to create a healthy plant-based diet, because just getting started, right? And then work with somebody who can help you do this, because we can do this. I did it after menopause. Claudia did it. Like, we can do this. We just have to make the decision and get some help. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really about making a decision and really putting your health first, because like you, I don't believe in fat shaming, but you have to be honest with yourself that if you're really overweight, you are a danger for your health and for your longevity. And science says that you can live 2 till 10 years longer, and then a happy, healthy life. So why not choose that route?
Perfect.
So I'm here to help. So if any questions, just reach out to me. I'm still pretty good accessible. So you can find me, Claudia Kaldenbach, at Facebook. I would love to know what you're struggling with, so I can create more resources and recipes.
Perfect. And your recipes are not complicated recipes.
No, they're easy, quick, and delicious.
That's what we all need, right? Because we don't have time to spend hours in the kitchen. A neighbor just said to me last night, we offered her a dinner with us, and she said, "You must have spent hours." And I said, "No, it was 20 minutes." Yeah. That's all I spent in the kitchen. Yeah, it doesn't have to be long. Yeah, it can be very simple and muy rico, very delicious. Okay, Claudia, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate. Lovely talking to you.
Nice talking with you too.